Hi everyone. So let's start our discussion on A Doll's House by Henrik Ibsen. Before we go into the story, I want you to think about one thing. If someone provides for you, protects you, and claims to love you, does that automatically mean they respect you? Because this play quietly revolves around that exact question. A Doll's House was written in 1879, and this context is very important. At that time, society worked very differently, especially for women. Marriage wasn't about personal happiness or self discovery, it was all about security, stability, and of course, social approval. A woman's identity usually ended the moment she got married. She become someone's wife, someone's daughter-in-law, someone's responsibility, but rarely her own person. So, when we judge Nora using modern ideas, we miss how radical her actions actually were. Now, when the play opens, everything looks almost perfect. The Helmer household seems comfortable, respectable, and happy. Torvald has a stable job, and Nora appears cheerful and playful. Torvald constantly uses pet names for her, my little lark, my squirrel. At first, it sounds affectionate, even loving. But if you listen carefully, he never speaks to her as an equal. He speaks at her, not with her. Towel controls the money. He decides what is right or wrong. He believes he knows best, not because he is cruel, but because society has taught him that this is what a husband should be. And Nora accepts this role. She laughs, agrees, and performs happiness beautifully. Not because she's foolish, but because this is the only way she has learned to survive. This is where many readers misunderstand Nora. She is often seen as childish or immature, but the truth is, she has never been allowed to grow. First, her father controlled her life, her opinions, and even her choices. Then her husband took over that role. At no point was she encouraged to think independently. Now comes the secret that completely changes how we see Nora. Years before the play begins, Torvald became seriously ill. The doctors advised him to travel, which required money they didn't have. Nora, desperate to save her husband's life, secretly borrowed money. To do this, she forged her father's signature. Look, legally it was a crime, but morally it was an act of love. Okay, she didn't do it for power, rebellion, or freedom. She did it to save someone she cared about deeply. So it is morally correct. What makes this even more painful is that Nora carries this secret alone for years. She works quietly to repay the loan, believing that one day Towel will find out and appreciate her sacrifice. She believes in what she calls a miracle, that when the truth comes out, Towel will protect her and take responsibility. This belief is central to the play. When Trogstad, the man who lent her the money, threatens to expose her, Nora's world begins to collapse. Trogstad is often labeled as the villain, but he is actually very honest about his desperation. He is trying to survive in a society that does not forgive mistakes. In contrast, Towel presents himself as morally upright and respectable. But his morality is deeply connected to public image. When Towel finally discovers Nora's secret, the reaction is devastating. He doesn't ask why she did it. He doesn't even acknowledge that she saved his life. Instead, he panics. His first concern is his reputation. He worries about scandal, about how society will judge him. And this is the moment when Nora truly wakes up. Torvald calls her immoral, irresponsible, and he even calls her unfit to raise their children. And Nora listens silently. She doesn't argue or cry hysterically because in that moment she understands something very clearly. If she were ever truly in danger, Towel would not protect her at all, he would only protect himself. This realization breaks her illusion, not just her marriage. Nora finally sees her life for what it has been, a performance, of course. She has lived like a doll, first in her father's house, then in her husband's. She has been dressed, spoken for, and controlled. She says something very simple but incredibly powerful, that before being a wife or a mother, she is a human being. And that line is the heart of the play. It's not dramatic, it's not angry, it's just honest. And honesty can be threatening, especially to a society built on fixed roles. Now comes the most famous moment in the play, the ending. Nora decides to leave, not because she hates her family and not because she wants freedom without responsibility. She leaves because she does not know who she is yet. She realizes that she cannot be a good wife or mother unless she first understands herself as an individual. The sound of the door closing shocked audiences in the 19th century. Some theaters even refused to perform the play with this ending. They demanded an alternate ending where Nora stays. That tells us how unsettling the idea was and still is. Even today, A Doll's House divides opinions. Some people see Nora as selfish, others see her as brave. But Ibsen doesn't tell us what to think. He doesn't give easy answers. He asks a difficult question. Can love exist without equality and respect? And that's why this play still matters. It isn't about destroying marriage or family life. It's about recognizing that relationships cannot survive on control, silence, and inequality. Nora's decision forces us to question not just marriage, but the roles we accept without questioning. So, when we read A Doll's House, we are not just reading about a woman in 1879. We are reading about identity, power, and self respect, issues that are still very real today. Well, if you enjoy literature discussed like this slowly, honestly, without overcomplicating it, you can subscribe to LitTrack. We will keep exploring stories that still speak to us even years later.